because for some reason, and I'll show you the rest of the room. So right now you can just see me, but here's the rest of the room. And we have with us, oops, number 3. We have with us, we got Brian in the back, we have Amber, Amro, and Jessica in the front. And then we have me on the other end, which is this right here.
Hello, everybody. My name is Richard, and Katie Goldman is going to go over this training center with us real quick. She's our expert in WebEx Training Center. Katie, Nasser is the gentleman that I've been speaking with.
Hi there, everyone.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good, good, thank you. So I'm Katie Goldman, and I'm the Web Collaboration Manager. And Richard was explaining to me that you're all Mac users and using Adobe currently. Is that correct?
Yeah, we used Adobe in the past for a couple of our webinars. And we're using ReadyTalk, which is a webinar service, but it lacks a few features.
Sure. Yeah, I'm semi-familiar with that one.
Mm-hmm.
And is it 100% Mac users, or do we also have regular laptops and PCs in there as well?
Well, for the people hosting it, they're pretty much Mac users. For people that are going to chime in, will be, everything.
Okay, sure. Okay. That's good to know. And then how large are these calls usually?
I'd say up to 25. Do you have more than 25 or no?
It could happen.
It could happen. So maybe like not more than 50. I mean, on average, say 25 or more. 30, 40.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever had more than 50. Definitely not more than 100.
Yeah, so less than 100, around 25 to 35, I'd say.
On average.
On average, like, yeah.
Okay,
so
great.
The number would be around 35, less than 50.
And then are they primarily trainings, or are they more informative, like webinars and meetings?
It's a mix.
Okay, great.
Yeah, but we definitely like to use it for training in the next few weeks that we have planned. So that's one of the things we'd like to do with it as well.
Great. So that's what Richard was explaining to me, which is why we thought WebEx Training Center would be the perfect solution for you. Some of the great things to just start with, and is it okay with you? I'll go through kind of a lot of the different features, and I'll kind of gear it towards the Mac users for you all, because regular PCs, they'll just literally click on a button and everything's done. You all will have to open your browser and go to the account page, but it's very easy as well, as you can see you're on today. And if anytime you have any questions, please feel free to stop me and ask away. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Great. So when we're starting the call, you can see that, Richard was able to send out the invite, and the invite will automatically populate and put kind of a generic invite in there, and then you can see he was able to manipulate the top and put a message in there. You're going to be able to set all of that up with Training Center how you would like it to look, and the great thing about that is that you will be able to go ahead and, if you want to put like pre-meeting handouts in there, if you want to put like an informational piece, you can put that in the email that your participants receive as well. So you can be very creative. You could even put, like a picture of yourself or like the company's logo or something like that as well. So it's kind of like semi-branding the invitation. And then you can go ahead and send out that email to everyone. The other great thing about Training Center is just with that invite, we do have all different types of things that you can do. You can go ahead and do what Richard did and just let anyone join the call, or you can require like an approval. So you may want to approve everyone that's joining the call, kind of if it's more of a private call and you want to have security on it. The other great thing is you can have all types of registration questions on there as well. So, for instance, if you maybe have like 10 questions or 30 questions and you'd like to know, first name, last name, phone number, email, what company they're with, all that different type of information gathering, you can also go ahead and do that. and when they click on the email and open it, they'll go ahead and fill out that registration before they join the call, and you'll have all that information in your reports, and that's just going to be from that one generated email that you all saw today to join. Is there any questions about that registration and that email?
No, but we had another coworker join us. It's Mike, so join in.
Great.
All right.
Welcome, Mike. So the next thing that we are able to notice is that right now you're looking at what we call the participant view, and you're able to see, you know, the attendees on the right-hand side, the chat. You're able to chat with Richard or myself. You can have the webcam up in the top right-hand corner. And I'm going to go ahead and take you to my view, which is going to be the presenter view. So you're going to be able to see everything that I'm able to see right now. So the great thing about this is it's really great if you're trying to do, you know, show different types of things. You can see that going from the participant view to the presenter view is going to be very easy in the transition because it's all going to be the exact same layout, except for I do have my PowerPoint thumbnails on the left-hand side. Now, when we all launched into the meeting, before you all joined, I did load my PowerPoint presentation. But what we are dropped off at is what we call the Quick Start panel. This is actually why WebEx has been voted the #1 easiest, or it's the #1 web conferencing solution in the world, but primarily it's the easiest, and it's a big majority because of this Quick Start panel. There's a couple different things you can do here. You can see that you can go ahead and use the teleconference, and you can either dial into the meeting or you can have the conference dial out to you. If I can see today that you dialed in, but if you did choose to have the conference dial you, you would put your phone number into the computer. Your phone would go ahead and ring just as usual. When you pick up, it does say you've been invited to join a conference call. Please press 1 to join. So that way, everyone who's picking up their phone and joining the conferences, everyone's going to know what's going on instead of picking up your phone and saying hello. The other thing that we can do is invite and remind from right in here. And then we have 3 more options here. And these options will be what you'll do in 99% of your calls. We have Share My Desktop. We have Share a File, which is an application. And that's going to be the desktop share. Are you all familiar with the desktop and application share?
Yeah. You can share
okay. So as you can see here, I can go ahead and, you know, click to share my desktop. So I can go ahead and take you out to a desktop share. You can see here that, you know, here's a bunch of emails I had open. You know, this is actually my Training Center account page. Some of the nice things is when you're out here in the desktop share, I always like to suggest if you're doing a secure meeting and you have private documents on your computer, I'd always suggest to do the application share. So that way, for instance, if somebody IMs me or an email comes in, you know, those notifications don't pop up, which is really nice. What we can do from out here is you can share absolutely any document, any software program, any web page, and all that different type of stuff. But what I love to show with WebEx is that not only can I share a web page, I can share any account page, but you're going to retain a lot of the controls that you have in the meeting outside of the meeting, where typically all the other web conferencing providers out there today, they don't give you that much control when you're doing the desktop or application share. So when we're going through a web page that can be very confusing to follow along, I can use my annotation tools and say, okay, this right here is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about I want to limit the call to 500 attendees. So that way, everyone's able to follow along with where you're at. Or if you're looking at an Excel spreadsheet, you can go ahead and use all these tools as well. So there's many different things you can do out here. You can pass control. So for instance, if let's go ahead and whoever's closest to the computer, will you go ahead and double-click the mouse and click on the topic and just write test or whatever you'd like. And we can actually pass control out here in the meeting. So you can see that you actually have control. You can type in there now. So it's really great to be updating, you know, PowerPoints, contracts, Excels, web pages. It's great for trainings to say, hey, John Smith, I just showed you how to do this. Why don't you go ahead and show me what I just showed you? And then at any time, if you're getting a little too frisky and clicking around my computer, I can double-click back and take control. So it's very great to do that. As you can see, I have email notifications coming in, so that's why I would suggest to do the application share instead of the desktop share as I did. But you can see it's really great. While I'm out, is there any questions about the application and desktop share, passing control, and all that stuff?
Does it work on tablets as well?
So currently, WebEx just did their latest release, and it's only Meeting Center that's working on like tablets, iPads, Androids, iPhones, all those things. We are in Training Center today, and that release for Training Center and Event Center to work on all the smart devices is probably going to be Q1.
Okay.
So Training Center versus Meeting Center. Training Center is the people hosting it, and Meeting Center are just people joining it, or so you can join it from your like iPad. You can join or no?
So no, the way here I'll take you back to. I actually have a PowerPoint to break down all of the different pieces. So the way that WebEx works is we have Meeting Center, which is very basic. It's great for like one-on-one small calls. And then we have Training Center, which is what we're in today. Then we have Event. So Training Center can go anywhere from calls of 30, 50, 100, up to 1,000. And that's the way it's broken down. And it has a lot more tools, which is why we're sharing this one. Meeting Center is just very basic. We have Event Center, which holds up to 3,000. It's great for really large webinars and anytime you want to get, a lot of people on the line. And then the last tool is Support Center, which is actually capacity 4, and it's really just desktop support for like IT groups. I don't usually see too many other groups using it other than IT. So today we're in Training Center, not Meeting Center, and right now with the latest WebEx release, it is only Meeting Center that works on all the smart devices. With Training Center, whether you're a participant or the presenter, you're all going to be on the Training Center platform.
Got it.
So I did want to share a little bit more. Is anyone interested in like the registration piece and all that stuff? Is that something you use now, or does that sound like something that's really important to you that you'd like me to cover?
What do you mean the registration piece?
So with Training Center, it is designed to give your audience as much information as possible, and also to, to gain more insight about who your audience is and have them prepared for your calls. So you can, attach handouts, you can ask questions, you can upload photos, you can preload tests. You can do drop-off URLs if you want to push them to a web page when they're done. So on your account page, that's Training Center. That's all additional features that Training Center gives you to be able to do all those things for your participants. The other great thing is if you ever want to charge for a webinar, it does include an e-commerce piece, which it's the only tool out there today that we provide that can do that.
Cool, thank you.
No problem. The other thing that I always like to point, is there anyone that wants to go through all that stuff, or is that a pretty good explanation?
I think that was a good explanation, and I think the reason I was asking was just a lot of times we have evaluations after these trainings, and I just wanted to make sure that we can direct them to where they can fill out the evaluation.
Oh, yeah, that's great. So what's really nice with Training Center is it comes with surveys and testing. You can decide which works best for you. The great thing about that is it will gather all of your information. If you use the testing, and let's say you want to do, multiple choice, short answer, yes, no, all those different types of things, you can have the platform actually grade it for you, instead of, having to read through surveys. So I do see a lot of people using the testing to gain, all that information back. And they do also do short answer, but then it will just be in your account page. You can save it, and it saves similar to an Excel, but it's going to be in your Mac format that you guys use.
But we capture the evaluations on another system or another site. So I just wanted to make sure that after they're done, we can redirect them to that place.
Is it an LMS provider or what is it?
It's just a form provider that we use.
Maybe like a web link?
Yeah.
We leave an open API so you can integrate with, you know, all those different things out there today. So you can have that information shot over. You can ask that provider if they'll integrate with WebEx. We particularly leave it open to integrate with everything. So
probably weren't going to do all that. It was just, I just wanted to know, like, after they're done, can we, like you mentioned, we could send them to another URL at the end, as opposed to just putting in links up there, or?
Yeah, absolutely. You can do that as well.
Okay, all right, cool.
That's easy.
Some of the other things that I always like to point out is we have file transfer. So right here live in the meeting, we can go ahead and transfer a document to your participants. I'm sure we've all been on many calls where somebody says, hey, can you share that PowerPoint with me that you just went over? What's really great is you can go ahead and do it from right here in the call, and your participants would just be able to save it to their desktop, any folder, whatever it may be. So that's a great way to get all of that out. One of the highlights of Training Center is going to be the breakout groups. The great thing about breakout groups is you can go ahead and let's say you have, you know, your 25 people on and you'd like to break them into smaller groups so they can go ahead and collaborate on a topic that you gave them or whatever it may be. And you could break them out into, let's just say, you know, 5 groups of 5. The nice thing is when it breaks them out, it's going to break them out over the audio and the web. So that way they can go ahead and talk just like we're talking here today. They'll be dropped off on a whiteboard, but they can go ahead and bring in like a PowerPoint or a Word document or desktop share, all those different things. So if you'd like them to collaborate and take notes or, you know, create something, they can do that. And then you as the leader, you can actually jump into each breakout group. So you can go ahead and make sure that everyone's on track. You can just, you know, silently listen in to see if there's any, you know, good ideas coming up. The other thing that you can do is you can put a time limit, like if you want to just say, hey, you have 5 minutes to do this. Or there's 2 other buttons where you have, the participants will all have a help button, which is going to be a big red help button in the top right-hand corner so everyone will see it. If they click on that, no matter where you're at, if you're in like group 1 or, you know, breakout session 3, whatever it might be, it's going to notify you and you can click like OK on the screen and it'll let you go ahead and jump right into that session that needs help. Or at any time you can just take control and break everyone back as well. The nice thing about that is when everyone's done, you can go ahead and share in the meeting what everyone just came up with. So if you have, you know, John Smith's group 3, they came up with these ideas, you can then go ahead and say, hey, John, why don't you go ahead and share everything with us? And you can kind of have them, you know, just as if it was like a real-life classroom, share what they came up with on the board and go ahead and explain it to everyone. The breakout groups are really a great way for all different, you know, for work groups, trainings, you know, anytime, or for webinars, all those different things. Is there any questions about breakout groups? All right. Some of the other features that we also have is we have the chat, and then we have the question and answer. So the question and answer is an add-on for Training Center. And the way I like to differentiate the two is a chat is going to be like an ongoing instant message or text message going back and forth. Question and answer is really going to form the questions a little bit more to where, A, you can type more characters in, but B, if Susie Smith keeps asking you different questions, it's actually going to lump all of hers together. It's going to let you know what questions you did answer, and you can decide, you know, to answer back to her or to answer back to the group if it's a you know, a large question coming in. And then you'll also have the instant emoticons. So if instead of, you know, launching a polling question or a test, if you just want to know, hey, raise of hands, does everyone like this idea, you can go ahead and see from there. Now, that's all like really great way to get information back. And I like to point out the emoticons in the chat and question and answer because what you're gaining with Intercall is all types of audio control. So, for instance, I can individually mute somebody. I can mute an entire group if I would like to, if you want to make it like a one-way presentation. The other thing that I can notice is if everyone looks in the participant list next to my name, Catherine, to the left of it, you can see that my phone has a noise symbol coming out. So that's my active speaker that's identifying me as the person speaking right now. The nice thing about that is if you have somebody that maybe has a dog barking in the background, has road noise because they're driving down the road and listening into the call, you're going to be able to see who it is that's actually interrupting the call. You can right-click that person and individually mute them, and they'll stop interrupting your call. The other thing you can go ahead and do is, so if you have everyone muted, it's really great to have the chat question and answer and the emoticons. One of my other favorite things is the raise hand. So if you have everyone muted but somebody has a question, they can individually raise their hand. You can see in the emoticons there. And with the chat and question and answer, the nice thing for me as you can see to the right of Richard's name, he's the host. So what that means is Richard went ahead and scheduled and started the call, and when I joined, he right-clicked on my name and he passed the control to me and made me the presenter. So you can see the blue and green ball to the left of my name. That's identifying me as the current presenter. Now, he could right-click your name and pass you control as well and go ahead and put me back to an attendee and so on. And the blue and green ball would go next to your name. The nice thing is also that instead of being like all the other web conferencing tools out there today with just, these three roles, we give you this fourth role as the panelist. So on these calls, if you have a key speaker that really needs to focus in on what's being said, you have this panelist role who is a co-facilitator who can answer the chat for you, answer the question and answer, and also launch any polling and tests. So that way you don't have to multitask, because we all know how hard it is to type and answer one question and be speaking about another topic. So that fourth panelist role with all those different features is really a great addition as well. Is there any question about any of those features or the panelist or host presenter role?
For the chat, do all the participants see what other participants are chatting or what other participants are asking?
Great question. So right now we do have the chat open so everyone can chat. I can actually control all of that. So if I want the participants to only be able to chat with me as the presenter, I can go ahead and set that. Now, I can set that beforehand, or I can just go ahead and set it in the session now under, if you look at the top panels on the left, they're grayed out for you, but you can see that there's a participant panel. I can just click on that and click my chat features and change it. So you can go ahead and decide how you would like that set up.
And that's the same for the questions as well?
The question and answer is always going to just go to the presenter and the host. So when an attendee asks the question, it's only going to go to the attendee and host or the panelist. And then when they answer, they can choose to answer to a whole group or to back to that individual person. The other nice thing about that as well, if you're getting to like the top of the hour and you didn't get through all those questions, you can save them and then just follow up with, John Smith later on and make sure that his questions were answered.
And then when you do answer a question and send it out to everyone, does the question go along with that answer, or do you kind of have to restate the question and the answer?
So that's a great question. On the latest release, so in the past it was just the answer came out, and in the latest release it was going to be the question and answer. So it should be the whole thing. I do apologize, I haven't seen it. I'll have to look back at the release. Great question. And then we are able to share the webcams. I can see, you guys, I can see you're also putting up a light bulb. I'm not quite sure does that mean you have an idea? Some of the emoticons, I'm not sure what they mean, but they're in there. We're able to share the webcams. The really nice thing is the new webcam feature, it actually follows who the active speaker is. I do apologize, I don't have mine up today. We were hit with Sandy here in Chicago, so my power is out, and I'm actually sitting down in a coffee cafe. So no webcam today, but it would follow me and be showing my camera, and then when you all speak, it shows your camera. When Richard says something, it shows his. So it's really a nice feature it's nice to be looking at someone when they're talking. You can also go ahead and lock it and just do like a still shot if you'd like as well. Is there any questions about those features?
So it does that automatically usually, like let's say a presenter's talking, another presenter goes to talk, it will just show his video feed automatically.
Correct, absolutely.
Yeah, so like if I started talking, I should pop up on there.
Yeah, okay, we see you.
Yeah, there you go. The other nice feature that I particularly just love is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. You're not going to see it right now because everyone's paying attention, which is nice. Training Center is the only platform out there today that I know of, and I work on 23 different web solutions. If you look over here, all the way to my right, I have this attention indicator. Now, if anyone wasn't paying attention today, so when you have your calls with 20, 25 people, this red exclamation mark right here is going to go right here to the left of their name and let you know that they've well, it's supposed to say that they're not paying attention. What it technically means is they've either minimized your meeting, and that way you know they're multitasking, checking emails, surfing the web, whatever it means, or they've opened a window over your meeting. So that could be an array of things, whether it's emails or different type of things. Now, with 20 to 25 people, I'm not sure if you all are the type to say, hey, John Smith, why are you not paying attention? Do you have something better that you're doing? Or you could just use that for your feedback. If you see that everyone has attention indicators up, maybe it's a great time to take a break or, to open the lines up for questions or to visit a new topic. You can really use it to just however you would like to. Now, if you click on this attention indicator, you can see that it says 100% active, so that's why we're not seeing any of those red marks. But it's really a great way. I mean, I particularly use it since I'm always customer-facing. To me, that might mean that I'm talking too much and not letting you guys ask enough questions. So you can use it in all different ways for feedback. Is there any questions about the attention indicator?
I like that feature.
We particularly use it all the time, so.
The two people that don't have to be caught are the panelists or the host, so only the attendees can get in trouble.
Yeah, that's it. It just helps the host out, for sure.
So is there, as I'm going through all of these features, is there any features that I'm missing that you currently have today, or anything that you have on a wish list that you are hoping to gain with a new conferencing tool?
Well, one thing I know that we have Ready Talk for is it records like the webinar, but what it doesn't do is any video stuff, like screen share. That's definitely something we wanted. So when you record a webinar, does it record any of the video feeds? Like, does it record us talking? Is that something we want? I mean, I definitely want the ability to have that.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you asked that. I meant to mention it earlier. Richard's actually recording this right now, and I'm sure he'll email it to you later. You may or may not get the first 7 minutes of us chatting about Chicago and the East Coast. But the nice thing about this is the best way to describe it is the recording is going to be 100% what the attendee view is. So if the presenter's sharing webcams, it's going to capture that. If they are annotating, it's going to share that. If they go to a desktop share and they're sharing a web page or a PowerPoint, whatever it might be, and they're annotating and marking stuff up, it's going to capture everything that the attendee is able to see. And the reason I say it that way is because with Training Center, with the question and answer and all of that, it's not going to capture the question and answer. The questions that are individual to the presenter, for instance, it's not going to capture that unless the presenter is answering back to everyone, because that's a private feature.
So it would actually store our feed as well, or no? Like our webcam view of our?
Yeah, every time you guys come up, it's going to show you guys.
Okay.
So that's a great question. The other nice thing is, since you're all Mac users, Intercall automatically provides free storage. Depending on, you know, the different models we have, we do 1 free gig of storage, 10 free gigs of storage, and 50 free gigs of storage, depending on, you know, the different pricing scenarios you'd like to look at. And the great thing about that is 1 gig is going to be roughly about 31-hour recordings, and we store it on our server, so you don't have to worry about, you know, messing with it at all. And it is going to, you'll be able to email it out. You get, you know, it's a blue hyperlink, so you can email it out. You can copy and paste it to a website or intranet or, you know, any of those things. And then whenever it's expired, or it won't expire necessarily, but whenever you're done with it, you can go ahead and delete it and free up that space.
Okay. That's awesome. That's something we wanted to do for sure, is be able to save them and send them out later.
And then, Nasser, what we were talking about on the phone is probably a good question for Katie. Are they able to save it on that 1 gigabyte or whatever and then transfer it to their system?
Yeah, so if you go over that 1 gig, for example, like with ReadyTalk, we can download it. It's like a flash player, but it's a smaller file because it doesn't have much video in it. It's like 30, 40, 50 megs. I can download, upload it on our own host. Is that something we can do too with the saved videos? Is that something we can actually like download off your server and store them on our own server?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
We definitely allow you to do that.
Okay, so you can export them as well. I guess that's a question.
Yes.
Do you know what format it is? Is it like a flash player format when you go to play it back, or?
I do. It's actually WRF, which is proprietary recording. It literally stands for WebEx Recording Feature. So it will go into that. But then, like, let's say you record it and you know that everyone wants it in WMV or MOV. When you open it as the host, you can, in the top left-hand corner, it says File. You can go to Convert, and you can convert it to the different formats if you want to.
Oh, so it's like a video file. It records it as a video file.
Correct.
Like a .mov or .something. It's kind of neat.
Well, yeah, it's WRF, which is their own. Yeah, it's just their own proprietary, but you can convert it to the MOV or the WMV.
Right. Oops. Real quick, see that WRF, real WebEx Player extension.
What was there a question? Sorry.
No, I was just looking at the WRF file format, which is a WebEx file player extension.
Correct. Yeah.
So
great. Is there any other questions or any other features that you were hoping for? Or Richard, can you think of anything that I missed?
I think that's all we talked about, right, Nasser?
Yeah. I mean, we want to be able to record it, and we want to see that we have video.
Wait, so how easy is it? So when you make someone a presenter, how easy is it for them on their end? Like, for them to just become a presenter, they have to download anything, or they have to, respond to any studies, or does it just kind of happen for them?
Well, that's a great question. So what we can do is, here, I'll just right-click you all and make you presenters so you can see. So now you actually have control. You can see that it promoted your name to the top under Richard's, and you can see that the blue and green ball is to the left of your name, and I'm now an attendee, so you have control. I can see that you found the annotation tools. And then if you click on the Quick Start tab in the top left, or if you go to the very top and you go to the Share button, you can see in there is share your desktop, share your application. You can bring in, a file. You can do all those different things. So you can go ahead and try clicking on one if you'd like.
Chrome.
And then how many presenters can you have at one time?
It is going to be one active presenter at a time. I mean, you can have as many different presenters in a call as you would like, but it's just going to be one active presenter. And then you have that panelist role, which is going to kind of be the person in the background managing the other features if you would like to have that role. So now we're able to see your YouTube. You know, we can see the commercials playing, the Weather Channel, and all that.
So then does the host need to sort of switch presenters? You know, if you're going between presenters, would that be the host then that can do that the whole time? Or do the presenters need to then hand it off to the next person?
That's a great question. I actually pass you control, but Richard being the host, he actually has control over everything, so he could have passed the control too. So either the current presenter can pass control or Richard, the host, can pass control. So actually, if you want to like right-click on my name again, and you can see the first role is, or the first option is change role to, you can go ahead and pass the control back to me. So now I'm the presenter. You can see it put my name back to the top. It went ahead and put you guys back to the attendee role, and away we go.
And the host rules everything, so if I want to take away power or give power, the host has that option.
Okay. And then we were having some issues when we got on. Did you figure out what that was? Are there browsers, certain browsers that are required for this, or what was that issue that we had?
Well, when I logged in, I used Google Chrome, and I downloaded the Training Center application. But it did say that, I think it said you could do it through Java as well. Or is it, I think it says Java, or download the software.
Yes, you could have. Yep.
So I didn't need to download the software. I could have ran it just without downloading?
Well, so, I mean, it's good that you downloaded it, and I always say that if people have admin rights, they should download it, because anytime you hear of people having, like, latency issues, it's usually because they don't do downloads. And the latency is still not going to be that great, you know, maybe 1 to 2, 3 seconds. But if you do the temporary file solution, you do run that risk of having a little bit of latency. So, you know, all of your people joining, I would always suggest for them to do the download. But if anyone doesn't have admin rights and can't do the download, you know, they can go ahead and do the temporary file solution and join without it and still be able to join your call. So now I can see multitasking and going to other things.
I was going to ask you a question. In terms of, like, the directions that we would give to the attendees or even the potential presenters, do you guys have any, like, documentation or cheat sheets on, you know, some of the pre-packaged stuff on how they can use the tools that are on here?
Kind of like a guide of how to use it, the platform?
Yeah, so it's, you know, I don't know. It's like, you know, you're saying, well, the attendees can raise their hand, or they can do a little check mark, or they can, you know, they could do this, do that. I just was wondering if you had that documented so it would be easy up front to, like, you know, if we have a session, we can tell folks how to use or how to participate.
Yeah, so here is I just did a file transfer with the Training Center user guide. You can go ahead and click on that and highlight it and download it. And that will, you know, lay out all of those different features for you. At the beginning of it, like, goes through, you know, like annotation tools, you know, all the kind of the easy stuff. And then towards the bottom, it does get to a little bit more of the nitty-gritty if you have some more advanced users that want to learn more.
Can you say that one more time? I think we had an issue.
I don't think it was downloading all the way. Interrupted it. Yeah, interrupted it. Available. There it is.
Nice.
You guys figure it out?
Yes, thank
Yeah, you can see it.
So after the session's over, as the host, can you see like the contact information for all the attendees?
Yes, you can. And I'm glad you asked that question. Always remember, though, that the platform can't tell you information that you never asked. So if it's critical for you to know people's emails and first name, last name, phone number, make sure you ask those questions on the registration, and then the platform will absolutely gather and collect all that information and break it down for you.
Okay.
And then can you download, like the chat and any kind of the polling response? I'm assuming you can download all that afterwards.
Absolutely. If you ask any polling questions at the end, when you click the close out, it'll actually prompt you, would you like to save your polling results? So it won't let you close out without asking you, do you want to save or not save?
Okay. And then if you do polling, can the participants see the results? Can you share those with participants?
Absolutely. You can keep them for yourself. You can save them. You can share them with with all of the participants. Absolutely.
During the session, like right after the questions asked?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Is it possible to share like actually during the session, so right after you ask the poll? Can the participants see those? Okay.
Yeah, so here I actually am sharing my screen now. So I brought up polling. It was just one of these boxes right here that I just clicked on, and then I can go ahead and hit new. And then from there, so right now, the only reason you're able to see it is because I'm sharing it with you, because I'm sharing my screen. I could have been doing this, or the panelists, and you wouldn't have seen this. It's just because I'm sharing it with you. And then you can see that I have the option to go down here and open poll. So I can do that. So what I'll do is I'll take everyone back to their screen. So that way, so now can you see how you're not able to see it yet?
Yeah.
And so now when I go ahead and open poll, now it's open for everyone to answer. And on my side, it's actually telling me, like, as people are answering, so it tells me that, 2 people are in progress. One person answered, Sandy hit, the other person answered great. So it's actually telling me everything. Now I can go ahead and, here, I'll go ahead and close poll. And then I will go ahead and I will share the poll results with you all so you can see exactly what it will look like for you.
Great. And will that show up then in the recording of the webinar?
Yes. So when you're done with the call, so you can see here right now, these are your options. You can see this little universal floppy disk for save. You have that right now, so you can save them. Or when the call ends, just go ahead and it'll say, "Would you like to save?" You just click yes, and it will save them all. Great. So I do have another call coming up in about 7 or 8 minutes. Is there any other questions or features that I could show you?
No, I think you covered it all. Thank you very much for your time and your battery usage.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. Feel free to let us know if any questions arise in the next couple days. I'm more than happy to answer them.
Sure. Good luck with the storm.
Thanks. Have a great day.
And then, Nasser, I was just going to copy this and send it over to you so you can see what the video looks like, okay?
Yeah, sounds good. I would definitely like to see that.
All right. You guys we're good to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good to go.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure to meet all you guys.
For sure. I have some more questions maybe I can ask you as well. So,
yeah, what's up?
WebEx, what else do you think would be similar? We're looking for something also easier on the user's end so that when they click a link, it's just as easy as possible.
They're just in.
Yeah, they're just in.
They're just in something simple, because some are people that are gonna chime in and click in are not the most of all tech savviest. So really,
Right. Well, I mean, WebEx is the easiest for a presenter and for people just listening, with the recording capabilities that you guys are looking for. The other thing that we have is Intercall Unified Meeting, which is strictly just application sharing. It's like share your desktop, share your applications, share your documents that you want to look at. There's just no video presence. And then the other thing you guys already have, Adobe Connect. Those are the three things that Intercall offers.
but you feel this,
So just from,
do you like,
yeah, just from what you guys are thinking, WebEx would be, sounds like it would be the best option.
okay. I know there's like a bunch of them, like, how would you compare it to GoToMeeting? Have you ever used that one, or one of those other meeting ones?
Personally, I've never used GoToMeeting, but I do have a current customer that's switching away from GoToMeeting, that is switching to Intercall Unified Meeting. One, because they don't, you know, kind of like you guys, you were saying that you might only need just one license. They want to keep it super cheap. They're a nonprofit organization, and they don't need the video aspect. So,
Right.
and she looked at the Intercall Unified Meeting and thought it was the easiest thing in the world and just way better than GoToMeeting.
Right.
But for you guys, with the video aspect, the WebEx thing kind of comes into play. And then like we were talking earlier about Adobe Connect, except it's just not, it crashes on you guys.
Yeah, we didn't find Adobe Connect too friendly just in Mac web browsers in general.
Well, it's great when it works.
It was great when it worked, but there was, yeah, it was great when it worked.
Yeah, it is. It's a pretty great thing, only when it's working, like anything.
For sure. Okay, do you guys, I think we're done with the questions?
Yep.
All right, well, thank you, Richard. We will, I definitely would like to view the video and go over it and just see how it looks like. And,
Yeah, definitely. The only downside to our video, because it's active speaker, so the only time that you're going to see a face is when I'm talking, I believe.
okay.
And you guys will see in call-in user for you guys, and then Katie Goldman for when she was speaking.
Yeah.
But at least it'll give you the idea.
Yeah, I had a feeling you said that, because obviously it's only going to record, you know, your face only when you're talking only, so that's fine. I'll just I'll fast forward so that you know, your voice come in, see how that looks like.
All right, cool, man. I'll cut out that first 7 minutes of me and Katie talking about the wonderful weather out on the East Coast.
No worries. Okay.
I'll shoot it over to you.
It's easier to chop up the first part if you have to.
Mhm.
Okay, so like for example, we're blah 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 talking about the weather, but we don't want to have that on a recording. It's very doable to edit.
Yeah, it's super easy to cut out, and I could even tell you in the email how to do it.
Okay, cool. Okay, well we'll keep in touch. We'll keep in touch over email or phone calls.
Okay.
Thank you, Richard.
Not a problem, man. I'll talk to you later.
For sure. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
The leader has disconnected. The conference will be terminated in